Imagine February 1958. The air was frosty over Cape Canaveral, and everyone was on edge. Explorer 1, America's first satellite, had just launched, and soon after the Soviet Sputnik 3 would follow. Scientists in their lab coats, pencils tucked behind their ears, spent nights poring over paper punch cards, trying to decipher those first, hesitant bits of information from space. And then, shock. The data didn't add up. Something strange was surrounding Earth. James Van Allen, his eyes red from lack of sleep, looked at the graphs and suddenly understood. Our planet wasn't just floating in a vacuum. It was enveloped in an invisible, yet powerful shield of radiation. Belts that we now call the Van Allen belts. It was akin to living in a house your entire life, only to suddenly discover it was actually inside a giant, transparent aquarium you never knew existed. It's precisely these kinds of paradigm-shifting discoveries that we aim to explore in every one of our videos. If you love diving into these incredible mysteries of the universe, now's the time to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single new lecture. By the way, we're really curious. Which city and time zone are you watching our videos from? Let us know in the comments. It helps us feel closer to you. Now, imagine the same thing, but on a far grander scale, happening right now. We're used to thinking of our solar system as a vast open space where planets orbit a star. And then, boom, immediately, interstellar void. Freedom, wide open spaces. But what if that's not the case? What if the cosmic space we're so familiar with, this cozy corner with eight full-fledged planets and one dwarf Pluto, isn't just an endless ocean, but rather a giant, complexly structured bubble? No, not even a bubble. It's more like a cosmic spacesuit. Our own personal interstellar cocoon that envelops the solar system and separates us from the rest of the universe. It's as if we're not just sitting on our planet, but traveling inside a giant cocoon ship, whose existence we never even suspected. Sounds like nonsense? Like science fiction? Physicists are like, what nonsense? We've studied everything. We've launched satellites, sent probes. There are no bubbles out there, just vacuum and distant stars. I hear the voices of skeptics, and I say, hold on. Because we've seen this before, remember? The same Van Allen who suddenly found a shell around Earth. That same feeling when you think you know everything, and then bam. The world becomes much more complex and interesting. Imagine you live in an apartment building. You know your apartment, your neighbors on the floor. And then one day, you walk out of your building and suddenly see that the entire building is just a tiny part of a much larger structure, with a bunch of strange corridors and passages you never even suspected. What if the solar system is just one room in such an interstellar hotel, and we're living inside something enormous, yet until recently, invisible to us? Enormous and connected. Connected to something beyond. Not just connected, but through something like an artery that pulsates. This isn't just a hypothesis, listen. This is what new data, new maps, compiled by the most powerful telescopes, are leading us to. They're starting to show us not just stars and galaxies, but strange, almost invisible walls and tunnels, forming a giant structure around us. Think about it. We are not an isolated island. We are part of something much larger, something that could change our understanding of where we are, where we're going, and even who we are. Imagine that summer day, August 20th, 1977, Cape Canaveral, Florida. A rocket roared into the sky, carrying Voyager 2. A few weeks later, on September 5th, its twin Voyager 1 would launch, No one could have imagined that these two spacecraft, designed to explore distant planets, would decades later become our eyes at the very edge of the solar system, and their data. Oh, that data would turn everything upside down. They were supposed to study Jupiter and Saturn, but instead they began to outline something grand and completely unexpected. What many scientists now call an interstellar tunnel. By the way, if you're as curious as we are about where these cosmic tunnels lead, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's our best motivation to continue our investigations. And please tell us in the comments, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? We'd love to know. Now, let's return to our Voyagers and their incredible discoveries. For many years, we lived in a cozy illusion. We thought our solar system was a neat spherical bubble, like a soap bubble inflated by the sun. Inside this bubble, us, our planets, everything so familiar, and outside, an endless, uniform interstellar space. Beautiful? Yes. Simple? Absolutely. But, as is often the case in space, reality turned out to be far more cunning. The Voyagers, these tireless cosmic messengers, traveled further and further. They crossed the orbits of all the giant planets, and then, decades after their launch, when they had literally tumbled out of our solar bubble, the first strange signals began to arrive. As if someone was persistently knocking from behind a door. "What the hell is this?" physicists probably exclaimed, looking at the new data. Indeed, the familiar picture was crumbling. It turned out that our bubble wasn't round at all, nor was it so soapy. Imagine you're blowing up a balloon, and it comes out in a strange, elongated shape, more like a tadpole, or if you prefer, a croissant. On one side it's flattened, and on the other it stretches out into a long tail. This was the first hint. Not just flattened, but also with some swirling patterns, pressure drops, as if invisible currents were circulating within it. Yes, this was the heliosphere, the region of space where the solar wind dominates, and its shape turned out to be far more complex than we had imagined. And then other observatories joined in, telescopes capable of seeing the invisible. For example, the IBEX satellite, Interstellar Boundary Explorer, which literally maps the boundary of our solar system by detecting neutral atoms. And these new, shocking maps revealed something even stranger. Instead of smooth, uniform boundaries, we saw, as if traces of a current, swirls, valleys and mountain ranges in the interstellar matter that wraps around our heliosphere. It's as if our solar bubble isn't floating in a calm ocean, but in a turbulent river, and around it, real banks, channels, and yes, quite tangible structures are forming. Oh, that's just some dust, a skeptic might say, or a coincidence, data distortion. But no, the more we looked, the more precise the instruments became, the clearer the picture emerged, as if you were looking at a chaotic drawing for a long time, and then suddenly realized it wasn't just brushstrokes, but someone's hand intentionally sketching an outline. What if these traces of current, these irregularities and tails, aren't just chaotic coincidences, but part of something much bigger? What if our heliosphere, this solar home of ours, isn't just in open space, but inside something like a giant, invisible tunnel carved through interstellar space? This is no longer a metaphor, friends. This is a real hypothesis, supported by data that has begun to piece together a puzzle. From the first anomalies to the shocking maps, we began to see not just a bubble, but an entrance to a cosmic artery, a tunnel that begins right at our doorstep. Imagine a hot Mesopotamian night around 2000 BCE. The stars are shining so brightly, it feels like you could reach out and touch them. On top of a stepped ziggurat, shrouded in mysterious shadows, sit priest astronomers. Their faces are focused, their eyes fixed on the sky, and their hands scratch onto clay tablets, meticulously recording every movement of the celestial bodies. They aren't just observing, they're looking for order, patterns, omens. And in this ocean of celestial mechanics, in these endless calculations of lunar cycles and planetary movements, perhaps they notice something strange, something that doesn't fit into the ideal divine harmony. Small, inexplicable deviations, a whisper they couldn't understand, but one that would forever remain etched in their precise tables, awaiting the day when someone would learn to listen to it. As we delve into the depths of history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what we do. Your support is very important. And please tell us in the comments, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? We'd love to know. Now, let's return to our ancient stars, to those forgotten tables and inexplicable observations that, as it turns out, were only the first part of a grand cosmic puzzle. You know, the idea of an interstellar tunnel, like an artery, didn't just appear in the minds of crazy scientists overnight. It, like a seedling, pushed through the centuries, starting with those tiny, almost imperceptible anomalies. We've always looked at space with curiosity, but for a long time, our instruments were like magnifying glasses, not powerful microscopes. And now, modern telescopes, satellites, detectors, they've started showing us that the world around us isn't as smooth as we thought. Imagine you live in a huge, perfectly round soap bubble. You're used to it being smooth and transparent. But one day, you notice a barely perceptible ripple on its surface, then a slight distortion, then an airflow that's not moving quite as it should, according to the laws of physics. And all of this is inside your bubble. You know what's strangest? Perhaps the clues were right under our noses for thousands of years, not because someone was hiding them, but because we were inside this structure. We lived in this interstellar tunnel, unaware of its presence, just as a fish doesn't realize the existence of water until it's pulled out. Our ancestors, contemplating the sky, recorded the shadows cast by this gigantic object. Shadows that we are now learning to decipher, transforming them into a map of our true cosmic abode. This knowledge wasn't so much forgotten as misinterpreted, until we gained the key to its true understanding. Imagine England, the early 17th century, the year 1628. The London physician William Harvey, a man who didn't just look at the world, but saw its true mechanisms, published his work, An Anatomical Disquisition on the Motion of the Heart and Blood in Animals. Before him, medicine envisioned blood as a stagnant pond, sometimes flowing into organs, sometimes receding. But Harvey, he proved that wasn't the case. He showed that blood wasn't just a liquid, but a full-fledged river that circulated throughout the body, pulsating like life itself. He discovered that the heart wasn't just a vessel for blood, but a powerful pump that pushed it through a complex network of arteries and veins, delivering nutrients to every corner of the body. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a revolution in understanding how a living organism functions. Until that moment, people simply didn't see the system behind the chaos. And now, almost 4 centuries later, you and I stand on the threshold of a similar discovery, but on a cosmic scale. By the way, if like Harvey, you love discovering new things and looking at the world from an unusual perspective, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue these thrilling journeys through the universe. And tell us, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? Write in the comments, we'd love to know. Now, let's return to our cosmic artery. Listen, if there's this mysterious tunnel in the solar system that we've been talking about, what flows through it? What kind of cosmic blood pulsates in these interstellar vessels? It's not just a vacuum, as many people think. Oh no, far from it. Imagine interstellar gas and dust. Not the dust under your sofa, of course. This is the raw material for new stars and planets, like building material floating down a river to a site where a new city will be built. Cosmic rays. High-energy particles that travel at speeds close to the speed of light. Real cosmic projectiles piercing through space. Magnetic fields. Invisible lines of force that bind everything together, directing flows of matter like invisible walls that keep a river in its channel. And possibly information. You know, like nerve impulses through the body. Only here, it could be something much more fundamental. Gravitational waves, neutrinos, or even something we don't yet even suspect. Physicists are like, what nonsense, just a random collection of particles, no artery. But wait, skeptic. This isn't just chaotic movement. Imagine a massive highway with millions of cars traveling on it. They're not moving randomly, but in specific lanes, in a definite direction, obeying the rules of the flow. It's the same here. This interstellar tunnel isn't a static pipe. It's a dynamic, pulsating structure. Like the circulatory system in your body, it doesn't just transport matter, it shapes and nourishes everything it encounters. This artery is a gigantic thread, woven from magnetic fields and plasma. It penetrates our solar system, connecting it to the larger structure of the Milky Way. Do you think this is just a beautiful comparison? No, we're talking about concrete physical flows. Flows of energy and matter that form our heliosphere, the very bubble we live in. It acts like a huge cosmic conveyor belt, delivering fresh building material from the depths of space. You know why this is necessary? Without this constant influx, the interstellar medium around us would be much sparser, and perhaps even our own star, the Sun, would interact with its surroundings entirely differently. It's like a river that brings fertile sediments to fields, making them productive. Our solar system is not an isolated island. It actively interacts with this artery. It breathes with it, exchanging matter and energy. Where does this lead? That's where things get really interesting. If it's an artery, it must lead somewhere, right? To a heart, or to other organs, to other star systems, to other possibly habitable worlds, or perhaps to star-forming regions where new celestial bodies are born. It's not just a road, but an entire cosmological plumbing system, maintaining balance and movement throughout the galaxy. Imagine, you're not just living on a planet, but inside a gigantic living cosmic organism. And this artery is one of its most vital organs. It's the key to understanding how our tiny speck in space is connected to the entire universe. Not just connected, but an integral, pulsating part of it. May 29th, 1919. Imagine this. 2 expeditions, one on the hot island of Principe off the coast of West Africa, the other in Sobral, Brazil. Heat, humidity, and above them, a darkening sky during a total solar eclipse. Astronomers, like Arthur Eddington, weren't just waiting for a beautiful spectacle. They were waiting for proof. Proof of Albert Einstein's crazy idea that light, this fastest and most independent traveler, could still be a prisoner of gravity, bending as it passed massive objects like our sun. Many scientists at the time scoffed. What nonsense! How can that be measured? And anyway, light, it travels in a straight line. But when Eddington and his team, with hands trembling from excitement, developed the photographic plates and saw how the stars visible near the solar disk were displaced by exactly the amount predicted by the theory of relativity, the world changed. The unbelievable became reality. But before we delve into these mind-boggling details, if you're already enjoying our cosmic journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. For us, it's the best reward and an indicator that we're on the right track. And by the way, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? Let us know in the comments. We'd be interested to know. Today, we find ourselves in a similar situation. We're not just looking for light deviations. We're looking for something much larger, the very path along which our solar system travels. And believe me, physicists and astronomers initially raised their eyebrows skeptically too. An interstellar tunnel? Are you serious? Is this from a sci-fi blockbuster? But here's the thing. The data. Pure, cold, undeniable data that makes even the most hardened skeptics scratch their heads. Listen, you know what our heliosphere is? Imagine it as a giant invisible bubble inflated by the solar wind. It's our personal cosmic spacesuit, protecting us from the harsh interstellar medium. Inside this bubble is everything we call home: the sun, planets, asteroids, comets. But what happens outside? That's where things get really interesting. Our cosmic vessel, the solar system, is moving through a vast river of interstellar gas and dust, which scientists call the local interstellar cloud. And, like any ship moving through water, we leave a wake behind us. A huge, long, pulsating wake that stretches for hundreds or even thousands of astronomical units. And one astronomical unit is the distance from the Earth to the Sun, just so you know. This is our tunnel, not an artificial construction, but a dynamic, living structure carved out by our own heliosphere. Imagine you're driving a speedboat through dense grass. You create a furrow behind you, which is your path. Our heliosphere is that speedboat, and the local interstellar cloud is the cosmic grass. How did we discover this? Firstly, thanks to our cosmic old-timers, the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 probes. These guys, like fearless pioneers, ventured beyond the heliosphere, right into interstellar space. And what did they find there? Not just emptiness, but a completely different particle density, a different magnetic field, a different temperature. They literally crossed the boundary of our spacesuit and found themselves in the tunnel, making direct measurements that until then had only been theoretical models. But that's not all. In 2009, NASA launched the IBEX spacecraft, short for Interstellar Boundary Explorer. Its mission was not to fly beyond the heliosphere, but to look at it from the inside. IBEX mapped the boundaries of our heliosphere by studying what are called energetic neutral atoms. And that's when physicists gasped. The map showed not a smooth, predictable shape, but something astonishing. It revealed a bright, narrow ribbon, a kind of ribbon-like trail of energy that encircles our bubble, as if someone had drawn the outline of the road we're traveling on with a marker. This ribbon, as scientists hypothesize, is the result of a complex interaction between the solar wind and the interstellar magnetic field. It forms the walls of our cosmic corridor, our tunnel. This is where science fiction meets reality. We, it turns out, are not just flying through open space, but carving out our own path, creating this gigantic, pulsating arm around ourselves. An artery of the solar system that not only protects us, but is also part of a much grander interstellar structure. And no, it's not nonsense. It's confirmed by years of observations and complex calculations. Reality, as always, turned out to be far more inventive than any fiction. November 18th, 1869. Imagine all of Europe's high society gathered in Port Said, Egypt. Laughter, champagne, silks rustling underfoot. The curtain fell, revealing the Suez Canal to the world, a gigantic, artificially constructed artery that forever changed geography, shortening the route from Europe to Asia by weeks, even months. It wasn't just a canal, it was a portal. Bridges that once stretched around entire continents were suddenly cut short by one bold line. The whole world held its breath, realizing here it was, a new path to unknown shores, to unimaginable riches. What if our cosmic tunnel is a Suez Canal of sorts, but not on Earth, but among the stars? Listen, if you like such a grand vision of the world and want us to continue expanding horizons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. For us, it's like fuel for interstellar travel. And by the way, we're very curious. Which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know. Now, let's return to our cosmic artery. So, we've already talked about how this interstellar structure resembles a gigantic pulsating artery through which not blood, but interstellar matter, energy flows, and perhaps even information travels. But that's all well and good. What about the main, most juicy question that keeps every dreamer awake? If our tunnel isn't just a mysterious structure, but a full-fledged artery, could it be part of some interstellar transport network? Or even a portal that leads to distant galaxies and entirely different worlds? Imagine a network of city roads. There are main avenues, side streets, and subway stations that connect distant neighborhoods in minutes. Our solar bubble, this gigantic structure of magnetic fields and interstellar gas that we call an interstellar tunnel, might just be such a station or node in a far grander, unimaginable cosmic network. It's as if we live in a small town, but a main highway passes through it, connecting hundreds of other, much larger metropolises of the universe. Now hold on, skeptics will say, adjusting their glasses. It's just a cosmic filament. Do you seriously think it leads to some other galaxy? Yes, I understand your skepticism. It sounds like science fiction on steroids. But let's consider, if nature created this filament, this tunnel from specific magnetic fields and plasma, aren't there other such filaments nearby? Isn't there an entire system? Isn't our tunnel just one of many such roads stretching between star systems, like invisible umbilical cords? It's like if you lived on a farm and one day discovered that the dirt road leading to the nearest town was actually part of a massive highway system connecting entire countries and continents. You thought it was just your local road, but it turned out to be part of a global network. And this is where it gets really interesting. What if this cosmic road isn't just a passive conductor of matter, but an actively used route? Could it be that our solar bubble, this gigantic structure of magnetic fields and interstellar gas that protects us from harmful interstellar radiation, is also a kind of way station, an entry or exit point, a place where spacecraft, ancient civilizations, or even spores of life could dive into this tunnel, only to emerge somewhere entirely different in the galaxy? You know, like trains diving into the Channel Tunnel and emerging in a completely different country. We don't know what happens inside this tunnel at a microscopic level, or even on gigantic invisible scales. 70,000 light years. That's a colossal distance. But what if this artery shortens it by bending space or allowing travel at speeds we can't even imagine yet? 2 dimensions folded into one path, like a sheet of paper folded so that 2 distant points become adjacent. We're not talking about black holes or space-time distortion, no. We're talking about something more natural, something that might exist right under our noses. You see, this isn't just a question of, is there anyone else out there? It's a question of, is there a way to get to where someone else might be, or from where someone else might come to us? Our cosmic exit to town might turn out to be an exit to the entire galaxy. And this thought, this possibility, simply overturns everything we knew about our place in the universe. Imagine the year 1771. A young Venetian merchant, Marco Polo, sets off for the east, not along Europe's well-trodden roads, but along unknown, dangerous paths through the deserts, mountains, and steppes of Asia. He's not just looking for spices and silk, he's looking for a path. A path that would connect entirely different worlds, cultures, and knowledge. Imagine he discovered not just a caravan trail, but an entire network of arteries, pulsating with life and goods, stretching for thousands of miles. Before him, it was barely known, or known but forgotten. Now listen, what if our solar system is also on such a Silk Road? But not an earthly one, but an interstellar one. By the way, if you're already curious about where all this leads, and what mysteries our cosmic Silk Road holds, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new, fascinating stories about the universe. And while you're pondering, cosmic travelers, tell us, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know. So, if our interstellar tunnel isn't just a vacuum tube, but a real artery pulsating with energy and matter, then the question naturally arises, who and what travels through it? It's like a road. If there's a road, then someone drives on it. You know what's craziest? The very first travelers might not have been starships, but microbes. Yes, microbes. Imagine a tiny, resilient, indestructible single-celled organism stuck in a piece of rock. It travels for billions of years, protected from radiation and cosmic cold. Then, by a stroke of luck, this rock enters the flow of our interstellar tunnel, which, like a river, carries it directly to us. Physicists are like, so what? Microbes die in space. But no. Some of them can enter suspended animation. They're like a small, perfectly packaged biocargo, capable of surviving the most unimaginable trials. Fell to Earth, woke up, started multiplying. This isn't just panspermia, this is targeted delivery. So it's entirely possible that the very first visitors to our solar system weren't little green men, but something you can only see under a microscope. And that changes a lot. If so, life on Earth might not have been a unique event, but simply a package, delivered via this cosmic artery. But that's just the beginning. What if not just microbes could travel through this tunnel, but something far more complex? Listen, if the tunnel is a kind of cosmic highway, then not just unconscious organisms or random asteroids can travel along it. What about traces of ancient civilizations? What nonsense, you might say. Well, imagine. You don't necessarily have to see an entire ship. Maybe it's a probe that long ago lost its way, and was caught by this current, or an artifact, a fragment of something, like an old bottle with a message launched into the ocean only on a cosmic scale. Scientists are already searching for anomalous signals, unusual elements in planetary atmospheres, or even strange structures in the asteroid belt. What if some of these anomalies aren't just natural phenomena, but traces of passers-by? Imagine we find a small metallic fragment, perfectly regular in shape, made of an alloy that's simply impossible to create on Earth. It didn't move according to the sun's gravitational field, but rather drifted along an invisible current until it accidentally entered our field of view. It's like finding a perfectly polished and clearly worked stone at the bottom of a river when you're looking for gold. You immediately understand someone was here. Someone who wasn't just drifting with the current, but creating. So when we talk about visitors from deep space, it doesn't necessarily have to be flying saucers landing on the White House lawn. It could be subtle traces, hints, which, like pollen on the wind, are carried by this interstellar tunnel and settle in our system. Now, let's return to our main question. If humanity once discovered that Earth wasn't the center of everything, what awaits us when we realize that our solar system is just a tiny station on a giant interstellar highway? We lived as if in a small, cozy house in the middle of an endless forest. We thought we were all there was, and around us were only trees and silence. Then, bam! It turns out our little house is right by the side of a busy, multi-lane highway. And on this highway, you know, someone is constantly driving. The question is, who are we on this cosmic autobahn? Mere tourists swept onto this current like a fallen leaf on a river flow? Or are we potential controllers, capable not only of understanding, but also of directing this movement? Imagine you lived on a remote farm, thinking the whole world was your field, your forest, your river. And then suddenly, you find an old, overgrown railway in the thicket, stretching somewhere far away, beyond the horizon. This changes everything. You're no longer just a farmer. You're a resident of a world connected by a giant transport network. Our ancestors, discovering new continents, became explorers, pioneers. And if we've found an interstellar artery, some, of course, will say, "Oh, those romantics. What controllers? We can't even handle our own traffic jams, and you're suggesting we manage an interstellar autobahn?" And you know, that's fair. But imagine, first humans crawled on the ground, then mastered the horse, then invented the airplane. Each time, it seemed like the limit. And then, bam. And we're already sending probes to distant planets. The only difference is scale, and the fact that the road already exists. It's invisible, but it's there. This overturns our entire understanding of home. The solar system is no longer a closed world, but a kind of spaceport, a terminal. The discovery of such an artery doesn't just expand boundaries, it shatters them completely. We cease to be a lonely island in an ocean of emptiness. We become part of a vast, possibly even living interstellar organism. What does this mean for humanity? Our goals will change, our methods too. What if this portal has always been open, and we just didn't see its entrance? Our search for extraterrestrial life shifts from passively listening to radio waves to actively exploring potential pathways. Our future cosmic expansion ceases to be leaps from star to star. It becomes a journey along a network, along pre-laid arteries that already transport energy, matter, and potentially information across billions of kilometers. It's like if we were trying to build a boat to cross an ocean, and then discovered an already existing, albeit unusual, bridge. This changes the game forever. We are no longer just observers in the cosmic theater. We are potential participants, and perhaps even future navigators of this grand interstellar highway. And realizing this fact, it's not just a scientific discovery. It's a new turn in the evolution of our consciousness, capable of overturning our place in the universe. It's as if we, humanity, have just received an invitation to the central cosmic highway, and we have to decide, will we just be road noise or full-fledged drivers? September 23, 1846, Berlin Observatory. Imagine the scene. Astronomer Johann Galle, following the crazy calculations of Urbain Le Verrier, as they seemed at the time, points his telescope. Months of mathematical derivations, arguments, colleagues scoffing, another one who's invented a planet just because he felt like it. And then, bam, a tiny bluish dot, where, by all accounts, it shouldn't be, right in the predicted spot. An invisible force, manifesting itself through mysterious perturbations in Uranus's orbit, suddenly became tangible. You know, sometimes the most incredible discoveries hide behind a veil of skepticism, until someone dares to look where they shouldn't. By the way, if you like diving into such amazing stories and discovering new facets of the universe, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit like. It really helps us keep going. And write in the comments, which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? We're very interested to know our geography. Now, let's return to our invisible, yet very real, cosmic structures. So you're sitting there, listening about an interstellar tunnel, about an artery of the solar system, and of course, your inner skeptic pipes up. What nonsense! It's all made up. Are we in a sci-fi movie? And I get it. The initial reaction to any radical idea is often exactly that. Scientists, you know, are conservative folk, and rightly so. Science demands proof. And the main arguments against this theory usually boil down to three things. Firstly, we don't see it. Where is it, this tunnel of yours? Show me a picture of it. Fair enough, right? No one live saw a black hole until its famous image was captured. But that didn't stop us from believing in their existence. Just as Le Verrier saw Neptune through mathematics, we see this tunnel not like an ordinary road. Imagine you're looking at a map with dozens of roads and routes, but the road itself is just asphalt, dust, markings. But the system of roads, along which billions of cars travel, that's something more. We see its effects: magnetic fields, the movement of the interstellar medium, anomalies in the distribution of matter. It's like watching the wind through the rustling leaves, not the air itself. You don't see the air, but you see how it moves everything around. Secondly, it's just random clumps of gas and dust. There's no tunnel, it's just chaos. And here I'll tell you, not quite. Random clumps don't form such distinct and massive structures that are observed over hundreds of light years. Remember how we talked about galactic blood? Imagine you toss a pinch of tea into a mug. That's chaotic. But if you look at a riverbed, it has a clear shape. It's carved out by the current. Exactly the same here. Interstellar matter isn't just drifting. It's organized, as if flowing through invisible channels, forming these very walls of the tunnel. It's not just chaos. It's a structure sculpted by billions of years of cosmic interactions, where gravity and magnetic fields act as sculptors. And thirdly, the skeptic's favorite argument. It all sounds too much like science fiction, portals, arteries. It's not serious. And here I have to admit, yes, it sounds fantastic. But listen, Who in 1901 would have believed that a man would fly to the moon? Or in 1633, that the Earth revolves around the sun? Reality, as we know, often outpaces the wildest imagination. If the universe really has such a structure, then our refusal to acknowledge it only hinders our own development. Why must it be simple and convenient for our understanding? Perhaps its elegance and complexity are its greatest proof. So when someone writes in the comments, "It's made up," you can confidently reply, "What if reality is simply stranger than any fiction? What if we, like those astronomers in Berlin, just haven't learned to look in a new way yet?" This tunnel isn't just a pretty name. It's a complex, multifaceted cosmic reality that is gradually unfolding before us, step by step, like Neptune after Neptune. Imagine a cold December evening, 1995, a quiet but buzzing conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Two astronomers, Didier Queloz and Michel Mayor, walk onto the stage. And the world, as we knew it, had just cracked. They announced the discovery of 51 Pegasi b, the first exoplanet orbiting a star similar to our Sun. Remember how people then thought our solar system was a unique diamond in the dust? Boom. It turned out the universe was full of such diamonds. We just hadn't seen them. It wasn't just another speck in space. It was the first door opened into a new, boundless reality, where worlds swarm like bees in a hive. By the way, if you are now feeling this thrill of the unknown, if this story captivates you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It incredibly helps us continue our cosmic investigations. And yes, we are very curious. Which city and time zone are you watching our lectures from? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know. Now, let's return to our main door. We've come a long way together. We've discovered not just a bubble around the solar system, but a real interstellar tunnel, a gigantic artery that might connect us to other corners of the galaxy. This tunnel isn't just a scientific discovery. It is, in essence, a new chapter in humanity's history book. Like in the 16th century, when seafarers suddenly realized the world was much larger than they thought, they found new continents. And us? We've found a new cosmic road. But finding a door is one thing. Daring to step through it is another entirely. Who will open the next door? Who will become the new Columbus, not of seas, but of interstellar spaces? Our astronomers have been gazing at the sky for decades, like children through a keyhole. Now we have not a keyhole, but entire gates. And here's the main question. Are we ready? Are we ready for what awaits us around the bend of this cosmic highway? Imagine you're standing at the entrance of this tunnel. A chill of the unknown emanates from it, and the pull of something utterly new. What's in there? Yet to be discovered laws of physics that will allow us to travel faster than light? Perhaps entire planets teeming with life, different from our own? Or traces of ancient civilizations that once used this cosmic artery too? Skeptics, of course, are already trumpeting. We haven't even properly colonized Mars yet, and you're already dreaming of interstellar highways. It's just cosmic wind turbulence. But isn't that why we explore? To break the boundaries of the possible? The tunnel has been found. It is real. And this is not the end of our journey, but just the beginning. The beginning of a path into the unknown, where previously only characters from science fiction novels could go. What if this tunnel isn't just a route, but a kind of cosmic umbilical cord, connecting our solar system to something much larger than we can imagine? What if it carries not just matter, but information, a kind of genetic code of the universe, through which life, energy, and even new ideas flow? What mysteries await us around the bend? Perhaps we'll find confirmation that life isn't rare, but normal, and that it spreads along such cosmic arteries, like bacteria through blood. We stand on the threshold of a new era of exploration. Whether it's automated probes carrying artificial intelligence, or perhaps someday the first humans who dare to embark on this journey. Space awaits. Are we ready? We are cosmic explorers, and now we have a map. And the first destination, the entrance to the tunnel. The future of space has never been so exciting. Listen, who will be the first to embark on this journey? Maybe you?